note to self, never follow a sax on the program. At the next gala, we'll switch my order. So this is clearly an awesome evening for Sefaria. In just a decade, we provided instant access to over 350 million words of Torah at all times in multiple languages. The full diversity of the Jewish people, every denomination, every country, and every kind of Jew draws sustenance and value from Sefaria. And it's all open source and free to the Jewish people forever. So everyone, scan the room, which is filled to absolute capacity. What an awesome gathering of Sefaria's visionaries, builders, and financial supporters. So many of you here tonight stepped up to invest in Sefaria's first 10 years, creating and continuing to reinvent the digital future of Torah. You're seeing dramatic returns on your investments. Each time your rabbi prepares their weekly sermon with the help of the library, every time you see Powered by Sefaria on any of the hundreds of learning tools we power in the schools, camps, and hillels that nurture our children and grandchildren, and when thousands of people found psalms and prayers of mourning in our library after October 7th. Tonight, with all of you, I take stock of the global Jewish life-changing enterprise that is Sefaria, and I am awed by it. It's an extraordinary achievement, the Jewish nonprofit equivalent of a unicorn, driven by the vision of the founders and the commitment of its funders. Which brings me to Josh Foer, the visionary co-founder of Sefaria, along with Brett, and also our outgoing board chair. The first time I heard Sefaria's founding story was actually on a podcast, and in that authentic, thoughtful way of his, Josh described feeling that his own Jewish literacy was lacking, that he longed for a way in to access our people's collective wisdom. Now, most of us would have done a Google search for Torah online and finding virtually nothing, thrown up our hands and said, that's too bad. But 1 in a million say, if it doesn't exist, I guess I'll build it. Josh is that 1 in a million. He understood that without digital Torah in the 21st century, Jewish vitality would stagnate, that it wasn't just a minor inconvenience, but a threat to our future as a learning people. Last year, he took me out for coffee and told me he wanted to step down as board chair. I was surprised on a number of levels. In my experience, both in corporate America and nonprofit boards, founders don't generally step aside when things are going great. Josh recognized that Sefaria was entering a new phase of increased scale and scope, and while Josh will continue to be deeply engaged in Sefaria, he is also, not surprisingly, being Josh, championing other new ventures that will enrich the Jewish people just as Sefaria has. Josh, we all thank you for the vision, audacity, and sensitivity that brought us to this moment, and for 10 years leading Sefaria as board chair. I ask all to recognize Josh for his monumental contributions to Sefaria. This is a watershed moment in Jewish history. We face acute challenges in Israel and the diaspora, but at the same time, there are unprecedented opportunities as Torah intersects technology. Sefaria is here to meet this moment, to be a portal to our shared past and the bridge to our collective future. Sefaria will continue to make Torah resonant and relevant to all. You've heard tonight about the expansion of our collection to include more works in the modern genre, personalizing the user interface, and pioneering emerging technologies such as AI. All of this will radically open and enhance Jewish learning, making it more welcoming and more meaningful. In 10 years, we will look back on the new technologies, products, texts, translations, and partnerships that Sefaria is working on right now and marvel at how they fundamentally changed the Jewish world, just as we look back at Josh and Brett's epiphany 10 years ago and marvel at how far we've come. But only if we fund it and fuel it, as so many enterprises are doing today as AI reaches its tipping point. Our task tonight and over the next several years is to make absolutely sure that Sefaria has the financial resources to actualize its potential. It took an investment of $32 million to grow Sefaria through its first 10 years. Our operating budget last year alone was $7 million. We need an even larger investment of $44 million over the next 5 years to fulfill the promise of Sefaria. This funding will support increased acquisition of content, new partnerships, and additional engineering talent for our world-class technology team. I am so grateful to the foundations, many of whom are represented here tonight, that renewed and increased their generous investment in the future of Sefaria. Your confidence in Sefaria's future translates into commitments thus far of $14 million over the next 5 years. In addition, we're able to rely on Sefaria users, whose generosity has grown steadily, to bring our small dollar fundraising to $8 million over the next 5 years. That leaves us, for those of you doing the quick math, with $22 million to raise through 2028. To meet this goal, I'm announcing tonight the launch of our Giving Circles, which I'm confident will become a crucial part of funding Sefaria's growth. For those who can give from $3,600 to $100,000 or more, joining a Sefaria Giving Circle will ensure we deliver our next wave of breakthrough innovation. There's information about the Giving Circles in your program, and I hope that tonight inspires you to make a generous investment in the future of Torah and Torah engagement. In so many ways, this is a scary and uncertain time to be Jewish. 2,500 years ago, Purim was a similar existential moment for our people. The Megillah tells us that in Persia, the Jews renewed their commitment at the time of Purim, Kimu v'kiblu haYehudim, an ambiguous statement. Clicking on that verse led me down the proverbial Sefaria rabbit hole to Tractate Shabbat in the Davidson Talmud. There, the Talmud explicates this statement as an extraordinary, unifying moment akin to Sinai of communal reacceptance and reassertion of our textual tradition, a moment so significant that it ensured the relevance of Torah for that generation and millennia to follow. That is our moment today. Sefaria is our generation's Kimu v'Kiblu haYehudim. It is the platform and springboard that nurtures connection to our Torah texts in the digital age. And amid challenges for Israel and for Jews around the world, it holds the power to bind our global community together and carry us through whatever comes next. We must join together to fund Sefaria to fulfill its mission. I am honored to be a part of this epic journey, and I am counting on all of you and the millions of Sefaria users to strengthen our commitment to each other and to ourselves as people of the book. Thank you.